Hey guys, Pawns here to talk to you guys about the Valorant patch notes, which have just been put out by Riot. Now this patch is going to go live, or is slated to go live, tomorrow, April 22nd. Server downtimes for North America and Europe and stuff like that are listed later on in the patch notes, so we'll go over that eventually and discuss all this stuff sequentially. Now, for those of you who want to read the patch notes yourselves on your own time, the link is available in the description below, so you can kind of check that out if you'd like. But we're just going to go over things here sequentially. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, etc., etc. Okay, gameplay and balance. Melee damage. Melee attacks now inflict double the damage per hit to destructibles, including Sage's Barrier and Haven's Metal Double Doors. So, you know, the map with the white walls, that's got those double wooden doors that armor on them. So knives do double damage to that now as well. Although the main thing here is Sage Barrier. And let's read Riot explanation. There weren't enough options during low econ rounds, such as the first round right after switching sides to combat Sage's Barrier Orb. Our intent is to add a high-risk, high-reward method for players to interact with the wall while still being able to take it down, no matter their loadouts. That doesn't exactly surprise me. Sage has been my most played character and is my favorite character. I definitely really prioritize buying the wall on those sort of those economy rounds. It just like really shut stuff down. It was a lot of fun. So it doesn't necessarily surprise me that was nerfed. It's not a huge thing. It's just, you know, on the El Cheapo rounds where no one's spending any money, that the wall is extra annoying. So just kind of like a little bonus on a skill I already liked anyway. So I don't think it's the end of the world. Not too surprised. Okay, so some Raze nerfs here. Not totally surprised. I'll talk about my thoughts on that maybe after I read all this. But in any case, Raze. Reduced paint shells from 2 to 1. So you know how Raze could hold 2 grenades at once? Now she can only have 1, which means you can't actually buy them anymore, presumably, because you get 1 for every round. And they haven't said they've taken away that free 1 every round. And it is her, like, core skill, the one that's supposed to, you know, refresh and all that. But in any case, paint shells now have a kill reset requiring players to get 2 kills to refresh the cooldown. So like, I think that works how like Jet's dash works. I think it's the same system more or less, if not exactly. Tuned and adjusted the audio for paint shells, blast pack, and showstoppers so that it'll be easier to hear in hectic scenarios. That totally makes sense to me. This kind of gets into the balance thing I said I wasn't going to talk about. I'm going to need to get into it a little bit here. I've always found Raze relatively fair. I get why people find her annoying, but I've never personally found her an issue to fight against. The one of the few situations where I found her abilities are actually kind of unfair is, when there's just kind of a clusterfuck and there's stuff all over the place and there's a whole bunch of particle effects and there's explosions going off and some guy shooting his AK beside you and you can't actually sometimes hear the grenades and stuff like that go off. It's been very rare, but this does, or looks like it's looking to address those niche scenarios. So that seems like a reasonable change to me. We'll see how it all functions when it goes live, but in any case, fixed an edge case where the secondary cluster of paint shells would explode quicker than intended. They now have a minimum duration before exploding. I don't really know what that means. I haven't personally encountered that, and so I don't really have a comment on that. I don't know what it's being adjusted from into what, so we'll see. It doesn't seem like it's a huge thing in any case. Okay, so what's up with that? Riot's explanation. Raze's goal is to be a highly threatening duelist that punishes enemies posted in predictable positions, but we felt like the cluster grenades and their numbers were creating overly oppressive scenarios. Also, players should be supplied proper gameplay information and audio cues on all of Raze's abilities. Abilities didn't match their threat, so we changed the audio for each. For example, when the showstopper is equipped or fired from a distance, players should be able to clearly identify and interpret the threat. Yeah. Makes sense to me. I mean, Showstopper specifically, the ult, I always thought was pretty obvious when it was going to happen. So I'm not sure how they're going to clarify that further, but I guess maybe people were having issues. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it personally because I find it a waste of time, but I hear people on Reddit and stuff have been complaining about Raze. It doesn't necessarily surprise me that she's being nerfed, and in the way that she is being nerfed seems relatively even-handed and fair to me, so it all seems to kind of make sense. I don't mind this at all. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, this is me personally. I never really found her to be too much of an issue, just because generally speaking, it was very clear when she was doing her stuff, and it wasn't particularly common where you would just kind of get killed out of nowhere and have no chance whatsoever. I mean, the ult more so than anything was like that. But the grenades, I don't know. People have called her an odd character out. I've been reading, or at least people saying that, you know, this is what they're reading, that she's a damage-based champion where no one else is. But I've looked at her grenades and explosives more as spatial control tools than anything, just like most other people's abilities are, except her spatial control is through damage. But it's damage that is largely avoidable unless you're like getting yourself cornered in a really stupid spot or, you know, something like that. So yeah, you know, for example, like Breach, he controls space by putting smoke down, and you run the risk of bad stuff happening if you just run through the smoke, and you can't really shoot through it without, you know, or you can shoot through it, but you know your accuracy is going to go down because you don't know what you're shooting at, and that's how he kind of controls space. Whereas Raze controls space by basically saying, well, if you stand here and don't get the hell out, or run back or run forward or something, you die. So I don't know. Again, I don't really think she's an issue, but maybe she was a bit strong. I don't know. So these nerfs, I think they're going to be interesting to see. So we'll see if people still complain about her. I don't know. All right. Next here we have Sage. Slow Orb now also slows the airspeed of players in the zone. So if you try and do like the jumping bunny hopping thing through the ice, you get slowed anyway. So I don't know, makes sense to me. Players can now, so that is kind of a buff, I guess. Well, I mean, it is a straight up buff. But players can now walk through the slow orb without making noise. So yeah, basically before, you could put down one of the slow orbs and you were 100% guaranteed to be safe from approach from that angle. Obviously people can shoot through it or whatever. But let's say, you know, someone put down a smoke to cover them running through. You would put down a Sage slow orb, and you knew for a fact if someone was coming through there because you could hear that crunch, crunch, crunch. Now people are gonna, you know, they're gonna move extremely slowly if they're walking. But you can technically get through there without giving away 100% that you're doing so. So, you know, a method of counterplay, I can appreciate that. Makes sense to me. I hadn't even thought about that kind of thing as a balancing, I don't know, option. But now that I've seen it in patch notes, I say that kind of makes sense. Okay, why though? Players were able to circumvent too much of Sage's slow orb by bunny hopping through the zone. I mean, I kind of did that too, so it makes sense. And I play the character. We want the minimum slow amount to be a bit more consistent with all movement in the zone while still allowing for bunny hopping and walking to provide a slight benefit to traversing the zone. Also, we feel adding a stealthy yet slow way to move through the field brings more nuance to playing against the zone and a bit more uncertainty for Sage, since she can't necessarily hear people move through. So again, in terms of these two characters being overall nerfed, I mean, Sage got a tiny buff. Makes sense to me. I mean, these are the two characters I play the most, and typically I play characters a lot. Let me put it this way. It's no coincidence that the characters I end up playing are strong. Like, I play strong characters. I also tend to... I mean, in this case, I just straight up enjoy the playstyle of these characters. But I'm certainly factoring in is the fact that they're probably very strong characters. So, no surprise. Basically, any game I ever play, if I pick a character to play or several characters to play, they're going to get nerfed. And I'm not bitter about it or anything. It makes sense. I know what I'm getting into when I pick these characters. Alright, so a few other things here. Map updates. Several exploits fixed on Blind, Haven, and Split. Probably a lot of the weird hovering things where you can kind of... Characters who can boost themselves or warp can, like, hover in these weird spots that they're not supposed to. I've seen it once or twice. It's kind of dumb. So I don't know if... I haven't seen it since. So I'm wondering if these have already been hotfixed and they're just adding it to the patch notes here. I'm not sure. Anyway, here's a weird one here. Split Orb moved from B mid to B main. The intent is to alleviate some pressure from mid and provide more incentive for players to control B. So, if I recall correctly, so Split is the map where it's like, it's not the D-Dust map, the dusty one, that's Bind. Haven is like the white-walled map with kind of, I guess, a bit of an Asian motif or whatever. Split, I guess, also has an Asian motif because there's Japanese on the walls, but it's the other map. With the ropes that go up and down and stuff. So the orb currently in... I know where it is currently. So B mid is that area that goes from the sewers, the Gesido, and connects to that thing right in the middle, and has that sort of wooden area off to the other side. And I mean, you guys know where the orb is, so it's there. And I'm not 100% certain where B main is, but I think what it is that tunnel before the B long side. If I had to guess, it's probably like right at it's on the attacking side's end of the tunnel coming up towards B, where people tend to get sniped a lot. I'm not totally certain because I'm not sure of the area names, but it's got to be there because it can't really be anywhere else. Because if you moved it up or down from B mid, you'd end up in like spawn points or behind those barrier walls that are up before the round starts. So it's got to be, it has to have been moved basically in front of B on the attacker side, which I guess kind of makes sense. We'll see. I don't have a lot to say beyond theorizing where they're putting it. But I'm pretty sure I know where, because they can't really put it in the middle of what I'm assuming is B main, like in the middle of that tunnel area that's kind of dark, because that would just give the attacking side a free, like 100% guaranteed orb. Like it wouldn't be contested at all. The only way to contest it would be to put it at the beginning of the tunnel into B. Anyway, this is a lot about something I don't have much to say about. So then there's some quality of life stuff, which I don't care about. Some bug fixes, I don't have much to say about that. Other than this here, Cypher's spy cam can no longer be use weapons. I don't know if this got hot fixed out or what, because I haven't seen this a single time. And this bug is just so... I guess it's pretty game-breakingly weird that... Someone showed me a video of it when I was reading these patch notes earlier, and I was like, what the hell? How have I not seen this? This looks like the kind of thing people would be abusing the crap out of. And it's actually possible I may have encountered it but didn't notice, and I was like, what the hell just killed me? And I didn't realize this is what it was. For those of you who don't know what this is, basically, Cypher's spy cam, you could throw a weapon at it, and then Cypher could use the camera to shoot a gun. And it's really weird. And again, given the fact that I haven't noticed this, I'm assuming it's already out, or maybe just no one knows about this, but good thing that's gone, because yeah, that was crazy overpowered from what I saw. Anyway, beyond that, not really much else to say. Kind of cover everything I wanted to talk about, I suppose. I feel like, okay, maybe this summarizes, one last thing before we go. I feel like this thing here, this little tidbit from Riot, kind of summarizes my thoughts fairly well. Raze is lethal, no doubt, and we predict savvy players will perform better against her over time. Still, we made some light changes that should bring Raze offensive pressure closer to the other agents. So, I think this is the key point here. I think as people get more used to the game, they're going to start seeing the shortcomings of Raze a bit better. And again, given the follow-up sentence here, yeah, maybe she's a little bit strong, but I don't want to comment too much on what allegedly people are saying about Raze, but from what I can tell, people are a bit, overreacting a bit about it. So I don't know. Where she's at, I think, is fine though with this current nerf. I don't think it makes her underpowered or anything. She's a perfectly fine character and will continue to be so. Anyway, that's it. Like I said, oh yeah, they also said the time. That's kind of important, right? Where is the time when it goes live? Actually, that's in the, hold on, that's in their Twitter post, I think. Yeah, I'll just bring that up. Why don't we do that? There we go. You guys can see that post, right? There we go. To patch will be taking EU matchmaking down on April 22nd local time at 3:30 a.m. CEST, then turning off servers. They'll come back up around 9 a.m. CEST. Also on April 22nd local time, NA matchmaking will be down at 4:30 a.m. Pacific time, then offline at 6 a.m. Pacific time. Back up at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So you can expect my live stream to be going live, well, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific. And we'll just try out these new patch. I don't expect things to play massively differently, but it'll be nice to see, kind of a small measured patch. The first one that I'm aware of coming to the Valorant beta. And I'm sure there'll be many more to come. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys, either on the Twitch channel as we go live, or hanging out here on YouTube as I continue to bring you guys more content. Thanks for watching. As always, goodbye.